You may borrow 100 million. Part of this 100 million is not to be used in the construction of a qualifying asset. Let's say, for example, you borrow 100 million, 25 million is to be used for other purposes which have got nothing to do with the qualifying asset. But the bank will charge you one interest for the 100 million. They will not break it up to say this is partly for the construction, this is partly for the other use. Okay, you've borrowed one amount. So you cannot capitalize the interest portion for that amount which has got nothing to do with the building. Okay? That amount which has got nothing to do with the building should be expensed. Okay? The other example would be where you borrow money from bank A and money from bank B. You put all this money in one pool, one account. As you draw, you cannot distinguish which monies okay, I lost you. You cannot distinguish which monies are coming from bank A or from bank B because they're all in one pool. But the two banks are charging you different interest rates. So as you draw that amount, you need to compute a weighted average for the interest to be applied against the amount that you are drawing out. Clear? Now, there are three conditions which have to be met for you to commence capitalization. And all these three conditions have to be met at once. The first condition is expenditure for the assets are being incurred, meaning you've not just borrowed this money and this money just seated in the account. You must be spending this money. Clear? You must be spending this money. The second condition is that borrowing costs are being incurred. The third condition is that activities that are necessary to prepare the asset for its intended use or sale are in progress. Meaning you should actually be constructing. You've not just bought the materials and it is seated at the site. Construction work must actually be taking place. Clear? I'm trying to call you. my call coming through? Can you answer that one? Can you hear me? I still can't hear you on this one as well, but I can see you at least. My tablet's battery is dying out. It's telling me it's too low. So I'll switch to the other one. So all those three conditions must be applicable for an entity to capitalize the borrowing costs. Capitalization is suspended during extended period when development is interrupted. If for whatever reason the construction is interrupted, during that period you also suspend capitalizing the borrowing costs. Instead you expense them out. Then when you cease construction, you also cease capitalizing borrowing costs. Any borrowing cost after that should be expensed. Clear? We move to another standard, intangible assets. IAS 38. We go through the same sequence: definition, recognition, measurement, and disclosure. This standard is one of the standards which is highly examined, as you shall see why. IAS 38 defines an intangible asset as an identifiable non-monetary asset without physical substance. We move to recognition. Just like IAS 16, IAS 38 uses the conceptual framework criteria to recognize an intangible asset, which is that it is probable that future economic benefits that are attributable to the assets will flow to the entity, and the cost of the asset can be reliably measured. Just like IAS 36, there is measurement at recognition and measurement after recognition. Now, whereas IAS 36 only has one criteria of measurement at recognition, IAS 38 has multiple recognition criteria. That's what makes it a high candidate for examination purposes. The first one is an intangible asset which is acquired separately. If an intangible asset has been acquired separately,